So we'll see if it works, and we'll go from there. I think we're live now. Hey guys, we're live. I'm just gonna hit my intro, and then we'll get started here. And yeah, if it works. Okay, hold on one second. Oh, there we go. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast and the Pink Bell Aloha podcast. Because my guests, we do shows with each other every 2 weeks. So if you're watching on my channel, welcome. If you're watching on Pink Bell Aloha's channel, welcome. So we kind of just do this thing like every 2 weeks where we get together and we talk about some of the news and like some of the stuff that's been going on in our life and some of the stuff that's been going on in like the starseed world, and and we get into a lot of fun stuff. We do readings, and so if you're joining us for the first time today, welcome. But if you saw our shows before, welcome. It's going to be a fun show. And just a little bit more about my guest and co-host today, Pink Bell Aloha. She is everywhere. She's on YouTube, TikTok, Spotify. Her background is she's a certified quantum healer and multidimensional light body practitioner, certified USUI Reiki master, teacher and practitioner, certified crystal and 1222 chakra instructor and practitioner, quantum Akashic records, readings and clearings, life and personal empowerment coach. And some of the services she provides are Ascension multidimensional guide and wayshower, chakra, quantum healing and balance, Akashic record reading and quantum multidimensional healing, Atlantis, Lemuria, dark ET soul contracts, quantum healing with releasing of implants, J tags and seals, or seals and tags and J's. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. Sacred space clearing, home and business, and mentorship packages. And you can reach her at her email. It's wait, where is it? Do you want to just tell them your email before we get started?
Yeah. So my website's alohapinkbella.weebly.com and my email is alohapinkbella@gmail.com. Just to make it easy. Just remember Aloha Pink Bella.
Yeah. And I just want to start off with saying thanks for coming on again. I always love having you on. We always do like fun shows together. And I just want to say that like this week has been like, I've been targeted majorly, you know what I mean? Like, I got hit with like 3 things that like really affected my life. Like one of them is like kind of personal. Like, I was seeing like a doctor, and I don't really believe in like mainstream medical, but I still was anyway, because I had been going to this doctor for trauma for like 10 years. So then they said that they couldn't keep a therapist in the place. So all of a sudden I was losing my doctor of 10 years. Then on top of that, my internet went out completely on my phone. So I got like sabotaged by that. Like I have to get a new phone. And then I'm trying to think of the other thing that was like really major that happened to me. My friend Marianne would know because I told her all about it. Like, but I mean, like, it was like 3 or 4 major things that like, really my Spotify podcast got hijacked again. So listen to this. You're not gonna believe this. So I looked on Spotify one day and I saw that there was only shows on there from January 1st. So I had to go back into Spotify and redirect all my episodes to Spreaker again. So someone like went in and messed with my Spotify podcast. So someone has access to that too. So just like real heavy targeting, it seemed like, because what my friend Marianne said, and shout out to my friend Marianne, she said that because I said, I started to think I'm crazy. She's like, no, she's like, that's the way they want you to think. She's like, when you're targeted, this kind of stuff happens. So, like that's kind of what I think is going on. I mean, I can't prove that I'm targeted, but it does seem like it, because I don't know what this shit happens to other people, but I think it might be happening to starseeds all over the world though at this point. I think
so. Yeah. If it's been happening to anybody in the comments, please comment. So Rob and I just had a little chat before I came on live. So welcome everyone. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for everyone on Rob's channel and my channel. Super happy to be here today. Rob, did a lot of this happen before we moved into the Pisces energy? So we just moved into Pisces on the 19th.
So it was just happened about 3 or 4 days ago. It all, or like last week it was happening. It all kind of like culminated, and it all happened at once. It seemed like, you know what I mean?
So in a way, we're all being targeted, because that's been the theme in my sessions as well. And I think you and I, like, we touched base maybe a week ago, and we were sort of saying how things weren't really flowing. And I affirmed for you that they would flow. But I love Aquarian energy, and I found Aquarius energy like this last couple of weeks been really tough. Like a lot of initiations, a lot of tests, a lot of things happening to a lot of people, from things that like you've been happening to your business. For me, both me and my kitty aren't well. I'm going to talk about the animals today a little bit too, because all the animals are really being affected with what's happening. I had plans for March, and it's like any opportunity that got thwarted to do this thing at the beginning of March, it got pulled away. I just had to make a decision about that today. So I'm okay with it, because I know, like, we'll talk about the solar eclipse too. That solar eclipse that's coming up the beginning of April is massive. It's huge. And it's like we're being given an opportunity right now to really ramp up our warrior abilities. And let's say, like, some of the things that happened to you, to me, whatever, we're learning how to navigate around it and not get pulled so far down that it devastates us. Now we're like, oh my gosh, being targeted. And yeah, you're not the only one. I mean, I've had clients that things have collapsed, robberies, all sorts of things. And I went through a bout of that in December as well. And I think that's why the dragons are going to be super cool to assist us. And we'll talk. I've done a little collective reading for us today too, because they're here physically here on the planet now. I got confirmation yesterday. So
good ETs or bad ETs?
Good.
For both.
Good dragons. Yeah, both. Both are here, but the good dragons are physically here in our reality now to help us. And we can talk about that today. So maybe between now and the next show, you can practice calling in your dragon. See, and then report back and see what happens. So I'll give you an example.
I'll tell you, I never believed much in prayer. I just thought I was more of a meditation person, but like I was so broken this week that I resorted to prayer, and it worked. Like, I don't know who I prayed to. I didn't pray to like Jesus or anything. No. I just prayed and it worked. You know what I mean? I don't know what I did.
Okay. So this is the thing. Same with me. Like, I've never been a prayer my whole life. Right. A couple of years ago, when I was really targeted and I was really under attack, 2022, I started praying as well. And I have two beautiful people in my family who are like, that's their superpower, is prayer. Like, they just believe in it. And if we get a bunch of people praying for a certain incident, what I found it does is it clears. So let's look at the targeting thing and visualize, like, it's like this web of dark energy that kind of like a cloud. Think about in the Peanut show, you know, that guy that walks around, he's all dusty. So it's like a cloud comes in and kind of covers everything. And then the prayer clears it out right away. And if we have a couple people praying for us, so next time, if that happens, you can message me, Rob, and I'll send a prayer for you right away. It clears the energy out of the way.
One thing I wanted to say was, I talked about this on a past show. I was a big fan of the Art Bell show, and what he used to do is he would do like mass consciousness experiments, because he had a huge radio audience, right? So what he was doing is he was doing experiments where he would have his audience like focus on one thing, and what they did, at one point they focused on like averting a storm, and they were actually successful at it. But then he got worried because he wasn't sure of like what power he was messing with. So he was afraid, like, what if they deterred the storm and it went out to the ocean, but then it hits, if it was a hurricane, you know, it went out to the ocean, but then it hit somewhere else. So he stopped doing it. But what I was thinking is, since we have starting to have a decent audience, maybe we could do something like that, like a mass consciousness experiment. And we all focus on one thing. That would be interesting, right?
That would be cool.
And we could do it like a meditation.
Yeah. And the thing is, what would be cool is, like, as long as because I was involved with a group online too, and we started to do that around the weather and GMO stuff and all of that. And it worked. So I think what the thing is that just from our hearts and integrity, set the intention that, like, let's say we dissipate the storm, but it doesn't go, you know, it just dissipates. It doesn't move into another area and cause harm. Like, it completely dissipates, that kind of thing. And I know there's a starseeds out there. There might even be somebody watching this show. They literally just work on the weather. Like, they know the weather's being manipulated, and they literally work on, an earthquake hit there. Where else is it going to go? How can we prevent this from continuing? Oh, that area hasn't had rain, is in drought. Like California, like, you know how California's had like no rain, and now suddenly water's coming into California, because I believe that light workers and starseeds are working to help heal and bring in water where water is necessary, you know? So
and because I was going to say, we know these dark beings, whether it's the evil ETs or whether it's like bad Illuminati or whatever, but they're definitely controlling our reality, and they're definitely manipulating our reality in more than a handful of ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I would love to start fighting back. And people are saying, so a lot of people say, oh, well, we can't fight back. Well, I think we can. I think we can use like mass consciousness and fight back. I think there's a lot of stuff we can do. I just didn't think we would have a big enough audience for it, but I think maybe we do. Like if we advertised it beforehand and we got a lot of people involved and had people share it and stuff like that, we could definitely do something, you know, I think, and we could see if we could make an impact, you know.
I agree. And they I did a transmission from Archangel Michael this week. It just naturally came in. I did a dragon activation group call, and Archangel Michael came in to help facilitate it with me. And the message that came in is, I loved it. He gave me this phrase: we're literally remembering being Jedis. We're in training right now to remember that we're these powerful angelic Jedi warriors, and that we're going to get past all this pointing the fingers at each other and start to work as a collective this year, and start remembering that we have the ability to stop all of this stuff in its track. So that was amazing to me. That was the message that came in, and I so resonate with being a Jedi. I really do.
Yeah, me too. I like that.
Yeah. So I asked for my Jedi. I asked for my lightsaber back, and in the meditation, I got it back.
Well, yeah, and plus, what do we know about Jedis? We know they can manipulate their reality, and we know that, like, with the law of attraction and everything else, and we know, like, we can meditate and we can manipulate our reality. I try to use affirmations and subliminals. I haven't been that very financially abundant lately, but I'm trying to change that. But no, I mean, sometimes it works. Sometimes I can manifest money. Sometimes, you know, but I always feel like it's somehow I feel like it's a learning lesson. Like, I don't think I was ever meant to be rich, like, you know, or be well off. And I'm kind of happy,
the money
you know?
scenario is different. It's weird right now because if what happens is we're gaining momentum and we're manifesting money, that other team will come in with a lesson and try and block it. Like that's been many of our stories of this whole journey, is like, we'll be in this momentum manifesting money, and then everything will just come to a halt. So, you know, I've done a lot of healing around money wounds. I've helped a lot of clients around that as well. And it's like, the money's not evil. It was the intention behind it, that suddenly only a few special people could have the money, and then the rest of you are all peasants and you can't have anything, right? So they didn't want us to remember how to manifest. They didn't want us to remember that we have the abilities to do that. And when we start doing that, when it starts to show up, that means that we've unplugged more from the original grid matrix, and we're moving into the new earth grid matrix. And on that note, I just saw a really cool little quote from Dolores Cannon, who's gone. She transitioned in 2013, I believe. She said, we need to do two things to leave the old earth, the old matrix. First, we have to clear fear, which is us moving into our Jedi warrior and like going, okay, I see I'm being targeted. I'm not going to be in fear anymore. What can I do to get around it? What can I do to get around it? Right. Sometimes we have to go into like a prayer meditation mode to surrender and hand it over to the higher power of the universe, knowing that we've got these guides. We have these other beings that want to come in and help us, that we're not alone. The second thing she said is we have to forgive everyone, because we came in to clear karma, which is so true. Like, people that have, like, you know, thwarted us, betrayed us, family members, all of that, even if we don't want to forgive them, as soon as we get to a point where we just go, oh, whatever, it's their life, their journey, and moves us into a higher frequency, and that frees us. And we literally came into this life to clear all of our karma, because these beings that we have challenges with, including companies. Like, if we think about it, if we're working with a company and things are going really, really well, we talked about this last time, and then suddenly something weird happens, that means there's an opening in that company. That means that company is not of high integrity. They're not of the light. They have their basis, or they were recently bought out, right? They were recently bought out by the other team. So we've all heard these stories that the dark ones are not here anymore. No, the movie's still going on. They're still here. I mean, I just went through a grid assignment in my city. I think maybe I talked about this last time, where they kept me with the dragons in this government building for 3 hours, and I was exhausted when I came back. Like, I had to sleep when I came back. Then I was guided to watch the original Ghostbusters that night, which when I watched it, didn't even seem like I'd ever seen it before. Seen that movie a million times before, but it was almost like, I've never seen this movie before. What's going on? And they wanted me to see the demon dogs that took over Sigourney Weaver, because they said that's what we cleared out of that building. That's why I was exhausted. This is why our third eyes aren't open. because there's so much weird stuff that we would actually be seeing that's going to be cleared out now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, someone said that on my show. They were saying a couple of things I picked up from my shows this week. Someone said that they said if like we have a very limited perception because we only see like 5% of the electromagnetic light spectrum. They said if we saw everything that is around us, like all these entities and dragons and all this stuff and ghosts and spirits and ETs, it would be like information overload, and a lot of people couldn't handle it. So I think that's why our that might be. I don't know if I'm right about that. But then also another guest told me this week, it was interesting. This David Lotherington guy, he said when you're dealing with like magic, like when you like this is about the manifestation, he said with magic there becomes like great power and responsibility. So when we're looking to manifest our lives, we have to do it with like great responsibility. Like if you get money, like what are you going to use that money for? You have to make sure you use it I'm talking about me. I have to make sure I use it responsibly. So to show that I'm like, I don't know. Does that make any sense? Or am I right about that? Or what do you think?
Yes. Because thank you. Yeah. Because so when we were all asleep, and most of us were in jobs and we were making a lot of money, it kept us asleep because the flow just kept coming in all the time. It just kept coming in. So we just kept going off and doing things, right? And just like taking it and burning it basically. So now, moving into higher frequencies, now we're being asked to, okay, you can have this for your mission, but you might need to go through a few hoops first just to make sure that you're in integrity, just to make sure that money that's going to come to you, you're going to use it for a higher purpose and you're not going to go back to sleep. So there's that aspect of it. Yeah. So absolutely. And I feel like I agree with that individual. Like I have clients that see a lot, and I met people years ago that they came in with their third eye open and they were afraid to leave their house.
I think I would be too. Yeah.
Yeah. And they would say to me, Pink Belly, you do not want to see what I'm seeing. Like, that's why I don't want to go outside. It's really hard for me to be around people. And I remember thinking that's true. Like if we all had our third eyes open and we saw the demons and we saw the AI spiders on the buildings and we saw, the dragons and all this weird black magic, all this dark stuff flying around, it would freak us out.
I had someone, I have a friend of mine, she does grid work as well, but she told me one time, this is really sad. Her mother passed away. She had cancer, but she said there was one point when she saw AI spiders coming out of her mother. And I was almost cry. I was like, wow, that's horrible. Like, I don't know if I can handle seeing that, and
no, exactly.
And,
So,
it's
the good news is if we see the AI spiders, they don't see us. They're not they're mechanical, they're technology. This is what I've learned from them. They're tech. So if we see something like that, we might go into fear, which brings us down into a lower vibration. So then we got our tools, right? We got prayer, we have crystals, we have manifestations like angels, dragons to work with. That'll raise us back up to a higher frequency because we clear the fear out really quickly. And then those beings don't see us because then we're on a different timeline and a different reality. But I do have clients, like they get quite stressed if they see, oh, I just went by a building and there was an AI spider. And I just say, well, just remember, they don't see you, because you're at a higher frequency, but you're being given that information so you don't go in that building. You know that building is being managed by that energy. So like when we're okay, when we go through these initiations and we get okay about what we're seeing, then we're even gonna even be stronger as a unit, because then we're honestly gonna realize it's not us against each other. We came in to be this, like that's what Archangel Michael said to me this week. You guys are blue ray Jedi angelic warriors, and you're all starting to remember more of who you are, and you're going to get all of your abilities back. And we're going to be going through some hoops to get them back. So yeah.
Someone from the audience asked, what are AI spiders?
Okay, well, they can be small, like what Rob just suggested, that come out of somebody. They're okay. Let's touch about AI again, because we're growing as a group, and we did talk about it, I think, last year. So the artificial intelligence that's like being projected on us from all the computer companies and all the technology, and like on our phones, that's like a low level component of it. They're making it all cool, like it's okay. But what they want us to do is hand our power over to those apps so that we don't think for ourselves anymore. We don't create anymore. We don't think we have to do anything. We get lazy. They're hoping that we'll all get lazy. But at the back end, I'm going to do a deep dive about this at some point. But so let's say that's being implemented by, I'll just pick a group. Let's say that's being implemented by the Archons, let's say. And then behind the Archons is this dark AI energy. So I'm just trying to think of like a movie where this dark cloud comes in and, oh, let's just use the Star Wars. Let's just use Darth Vader and that energy. Let's use the Empire. So the Empire is being run by technology. So somewhere along the line, somebody set up a massive AI computer that's controlling all of these dark groups. I don't even know
because we're in a holographic reality, right?
Yeah,
right?
and I don't even know if they're aware of it. Like, I don't even know if the reptilians and the Greys, I have no idea if they even know where their instructions are coming from, and they don't care, right? I think that there's just this hierarchy right down to the Illuminati on our planet. Everyone's just getting instructions, yeah.
It wouldn't make sense that it would be AI, because like if we're in a holographic reality, then like the AI would be manipulating the matrix in a way it wants it to. And that's probably why another reason why we see a lot of these Mandela effects and stuff like that. Like
exactly. Yeah.
You know,
exactly. So I think
because everybody's wondering, like, why is this stuff happening? Why is our reality becoming so weird? Like, you know, like stuff happening that we know nothing we ever thought of, you know, like Mandela effects coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know?
So let's go back to your example. So somewhere along the line, they know that that irritated you about Spotify. So they went in and changed your system. And it's the same energy that's wiping the internet, like what we talked about last time about people are just vanishing and the history is just vanishing because they've gone in and wiped the internet.
Yeah, this is like the second or third time they've messed with my Spotify. It's crazy, and like you know, it's I don't know what it, you know, but I hopefully I got it.
Okay, from a higher perspective, now we know Spotify has a leak. It has an integrity leak where they're actually managing that. So that's interesting.
I would agree. I would definitely agree.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, and then I'm going back to old school. I'm listening to CDs. I've got a player with like an actual radio where I can listen to radio again. I've got, I'm looking now for another MP3 player where I can download music again and just have it without having to be online, because I don't want like to be so connected to that energy all the time that I can't unplug from it. And that's what I love to do. I get my downloads when I unplug, right? So, okay, so let's go back to the AI spiders. They can be small, or you could have your third eye open and see these mechanical, they're either big and black like spiders, but they're mechanical and they'll be attached to buildings. They're very attached to technology. I started to know about them a couple of years ago when I went to my first big outing with a lot of people who had just gotten another one of these, which gives full access. It's not judgment. That gave full access for technology to be installed in individuals. So to hook you up to the big global galactic World Wide Web, right? So when I went to this outing, I was told to go to this outing where it was in a hotel, it was in a ballroom, there were like tons of people. And I found out later a lot of people got an extra one of these. They just got a little booster. And I was so sick for like 2 weeks. And after that, I was shown that the room was full of AI spiders. They showed me afterwards that there were all these mechanical spiders in there just rubbing their little hands because they were looshing off everyone that was in the ballroom.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know.
So I believe like at concerts with massive amounts of people, big sporting events, I believe that they're all there. They're at these events now as well. Yeah.
Wow.
So just be aware our reality is not our reality anymore, right? Like that's the thing. We can't just even go to a rock concert and think we're just hanging out with our people like we were 20 years ago. Like now there's like way more going on with the technology. Some of the people on stage have these whole hypnotizing things going on to brainwash everybody. And
yeah. So you wanted to talk about dragon shapeshifters today. Yeah.
And then I did like a little collective reading with the dragons too. So I've been, for everyone who's new, I've been working with the dragons since July 2017, right before the eclipse that went over North America in August. And at that point, they were just reintroducing themselves to me. But last September, they really started to kick in to work with me strongly. And I actually do offer dragon activation sessions. And also I just started offering group calls, activation calls this month too. So anyway, the dragons, I started really working with them in December because I went through something a little bit similar to what happened to Rob. I went through a whole bunch of things happening in my area 4 days in a row. Boom, 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 boom. There were a lot of robberies and stuff in the area. Plus, one of my packages went magically missing that got delivered. And it went missing within 5 minutes of it arriving. So I got a text message. It was in the lobby and I went downstairs. There was no package. So I was like, whoa. So I actually, after that, said, I'm going to ask the dragons to escort the courier with my item and guard it when I'm down in the lobby. And they're also working in the building as well, like protecting the area. So, I visualize it. I think it's pretty cool. So anyway, what they started to show me is they're shapeshifters. And they're actually on the planet. And I got confirmation from a client yesterday. She said she saw them moving down a freeway. They kept alternating between looking like a semi vehicle to a dragon. And I thought that's confirmation that they're here. They're absolutely here doing their thing.
What is their purpose? What do you think? Like, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to just like kind of usher in this new reality that we're going to be a part of, hopefully?
They're multi-purpose. They're like the boots on the ground. I feel like they can do more things than the archangels can, like because they physically have been here before. Like a lot of them went underground and a lot went off planet when the planet went into like a really low vibration. But the ones that are here now are I'm going to say another phrase. So I work with a lot of alliances. There's an actual like Earth Alliance that's connected to the galactic alliances. And they have facilitated various people down here to help us. So they are working on things like cleaning out the tunnels, facilitating cleanup in certain areas, putting fires out, that kind of thing. The dragons are helping them with that. So they're working on the new grid system. They're protecting, and they're also being just whatever they're being asked to do. And the Earth Alliance is here on Earth, but there's a galactic and an intergalactic alliance as well. So they're our team. So they're part of the Jedi forces. And then the other team, the Empire, that we're removing. So if we think about the Star Wars movies, they were documentaries. The Empire took over many planetary systems, including our planet, basically.
Yeah.
And we're removing them. That's part of our role, is to move them out.
Yeah. And then the dragons are helping with that, right? That's their.
Yeah,
that's
so
amazing.
I felt that they were here. So how they shapeshift, what they showed me is they can be our size, and then they can massively change into a huge dragon that will take over a whole property.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So when I send them out to do like the space clearing, now I understand that actually they're there, and there's even just one dragon will just manifest into this huge energy and take care of the whole property, like just like that. So that's why we all had to be at a certain vibration for them to return. So we're all doing really well, everyone.
Yeah, I saw one time. I was in Jamie, she's in the audience right now. She sees them all the time, but like I was in we did a group hypnosis session, and in the session they had Jamie calling her dragons, and I saw one. It looked like small and animated to me. You know what I mean? It looked like I think they want to show us the way they want to show us, does that make sense? Like the way that we would find them most like interesting,
Well, yeah, because let's say a huge, massive dragon that was 20 feet tall, and a mile wide showed up to say hi to you. How would you have handled that, right? Like now you're more open to it, but that would have been like, whoa, okay, I'm not ready to work with you. But I also know like there's kind of like there's dragon eggs, there's little baby dragons, there's all different kinds of dragons. But there's like this protective. They've been working on clearing and helping us for quite a while, but now we're getting to the point where we can use them as our allies in integrity, just like with the money. They will come. We're rebuilding a trust with them. But the fact that this beautiful client shared with me that she saw them shape changing, I thought, of course they do. Of course they can change shapes, and they're physically here doing stuff on behalf of the alliances. So we're not in this alone. We're not here alone, but there is a battle going on. We're on like the battleground now. And that's, I believe, also part of why the Matrix was created, so that we couldn't see everything. We didn't know what was going on, but that's all kind of getting distorted now. Like there's going to be these pockets, like what happened in Maui and Acapulco. There was just something in Chile. Like there's going to be these pockets that kind of like are busting open the matrix, and we're actually seeing, some people are seeing the battles online. So we might have some really cool footage soon. We might actually physically like start seeing some of the ships in their battles that people get on video.
Do you think, going back to the Miami Mall thing, what do you think that was? Like, I can't remember what we decided on that. Like, was that, do you think that was like something trying to come from another dimension, or do you think that was like a holographic?
I feel, well, no, I feel it was a little bit of both. I feel like I think what came through the cards was they popped in, like they always pop in. So they popped into the mall area, and then they were seen. They were on, and that's the thing. Like, I think video cameras we can record so many things right now. Like, we can see orbs and all sorts of things with our technology. But why wasn't there more? My understanding is a lot of things got wiped, including a lot of people's phones and everything were removed, taken away from them.
And I was just thinking, maybe they weren't meant to see them, but now people are actually starting to see. Like, and maybe that's what, like, the government's afraid of, that people are starting to see, you know?
Yeah, I feel that too. I feel like we're starting to see the other realities now, and like now we'll start taking videos, right? So my understanding is the men in black visited everybody, and that wasn't that they could find, and their devices were taken away from them and are wiped, and or their memories were wiped too, which is why we don't have a lot more people that have come forward and talked about even that incident.
Yeah, I agree. So, that's amazing.
I know, so interesting. So I don't know, I did a collective reading. Do you want to ask me something else, or should I do the reading?
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Wherever you want to go with it. Yeah.
Okay, sure. No worries. I just wanted to make sure that we were finished about that for sure. So when so the dragons are also helping us remember that we've worked with them before. It's not just like a fantasy thing. It's just like we've had other lifetimes with working with them, and the fact that I've got people coming forward saying that they're physically seeing them transform. I love that. I think that's amazing. Okay, so this reading, we do have a full moon coming up, I think on the 24th, 25th in Virgo. So we're already kind of in that energy, but I just asked until the next time we all get together what messages we needed for the collective today. So I just pulled like 3 groups. And if you guys want to make it fun, you can choose pile 1, 2, or 3 if you want a specific message that might resonate with you as well, but I'll do all 3. Okay, so pile number 1. An order of Melchizedek, and it's so interesting because I know the word Melchizedek has various meanings to lots of different people. But anyway, you are being embraced by the light. Your soul mission is being uncovered, and don't give up. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, the dragon, this is interesting, is the sunshine yellow dragon, which, like, some of you out there are meant to work with animals. You're meant to help the animal collective, like be communicators, healers, holistic veterinarians, that kind of thing. It just says the sunshine yellow dragon will help you to help animals. You came here to serve animals and to heal them, to respect them, and to understand them, and to be their advocate.
Oh my God! I just got to tell you something real quick before you keep going. Yeah. This is amazing. So I watched a video today. You can watch a lot of dumb videos on the internet. I think animals are starting to come online too. I watched a border collie make sushi today. I swear to God, it was like it took everything out of the fridge, and it turned this little pot on with rice, and then it rolled the sushi. It did everything. It even picked out the stuff at the store. I was like, how smart is this dog? It's insane. Yeah. But I literally watched a border collie make sushi. I was like, this is insane. Like it was insane. Like it was.
Yeah. And there's all these videos out there where cats are caught speaking English. And
that's so cool.
Up there like, Mom, where are you? Like, it's hilarious. And so my cat, every once in a while, he'll say, Mom. He'll call for me and he'll go, Mom. So now I know, like, I'm not imagining things because there's other cats out there. One cat knows its mom's name is Betty. Betty, where are you? Like, it's hilarious. And it's not an overplay because it's still like the cat's kind of meowing and then it moves into that, right? Like, and then it's like, oh, I have to be a cat again. It's so cute. The other thing I wanted to share, I'm going to be doing another video about this probably later today. All of the animals right now are so needing assistance. If you all are having pets at home, the solar flares are getting stronger and stronger. We had another massive one last Friday that, like, this, think of a huge surfing wave that's coming in. So this huge solar wave came in and it's impacting all the animals. But I think the other thing that's impacting the animals is the food chain. I feel like even the food, everything that's been distorted the last 4 years is finally catching up to the food products that we're giving our animals. I give my cat super good food. Like, I figured that out a couple of years ago. I go to the pet store and buy them like no grain, cage-free chicken food. 2 weeks ago, he started sneezing. So I'm narrowing down with him what his allergy is. And he shared with me, because I communicate with animals, he shared with me that he and all the other cats and the dogs are needing more vitamins, more support right now than they've ever needed because of the food and because of what's coming. And even if we feed our animals human food, the human food, as we all know, isn't the best right now either. Like it's starting. So what's been going on for the last few years is starting to catch up with us. So I wanted to share that all with you in case any of your animals have not been well, or if you watch this later, it's a common theme as well, including with my kitty. So, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And
I need to go off on a sidebar.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So then on the final card for this pile is soul memories and superpower gifts coming back from lost lands. So that would be like memories and abilities from Atlantis, Lemuria, ancient Egypt, Avalon, that kind of thing. So many of you might be having dreams, or you might be understanding that you're multidimensional and you're receiving more of your abilities, or you're being called to your mission. So I thought that was pretty cool. Which pile did you pick, Rob?
I'll pick pin number 2. 2's a good, an even number.
Okay, this is a really good one. Cool. So the first message that came in is Temple of Truth, to do with your throat chakra, which is so perfect for you because that's what you share with your energy, right? So your throat chakra has been upgraded for authenticity and self-expression. So you've been you have been going through an upgrade. And can you see the wings on the water and the trees? So you're also being called to have some unplugging downtime in nature, whoever picked this pile, okay? Also with the throat chakra going through an upgrade, some of you might not be feeling well. You might be having like cold symptoms or sore throats or ears. Like my left ear has been clogged for the last week. So that's another symptom of like this wave of light comes in, and what it does is it kind of peels away 20 layers of our onion. Like in 24 hours, it brings in this wave of light that brings all this truth to the surface. So we start, like you probably, even since last Friday, you had this big like epiphany about all the stuff's going on in my reality. But just to give you comfort, you're not the only one, okay? Dragon for everyone to pick number 2, the gold and silver violet flame dragon, which is like one of my favorite because it comes forward all the time for clearing and protecting. It's a transmutation dragon that works with the violet flame as well. So you all can practice finding a violet flame meditation and then working with this dragon as well. It transmutes the old around you with wisdom and grace. It's time for transmutation, magic, and healing, and you're to offer service under grace. So Rob, I'm gonna suggest that you try and work with this dragon from now until our next show, and then report back. And see if
I'll try. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then to see if
this is interesting. That seemed like that was similar to the dragon we picked in the first pile. Like, so like, were they similar? Like, do you know?
No, we had the animal, the yellow dragon in the first pile.
Okay. So it's a little bit, yeah.
They all have like it's like all the archangels. They all have a different mission. They all have a different purpose. So this is like one of my favorite dragons. This is the one I bring it into my dragon sessions and also the calls. Because it's such a powerful ally to have on our side to help with transmutation. So when you were going through a little bit of a dark night of the soul, when all those things happen to you, we can also work with the violet flame to come in as well and just transmute like our environment, our home. So let's say as an example, we don't have any incense. We don't have any sage. We're out of essential oils. You all can find a violet flame meditation on YouTube, one that you like, and then just play it in the background and it will transmute the energy in your area. Okay. The message that came in with this one, this is super interesting. Star Brothers. It's about protection, loyalty, safety, and trust.
Wow.
So, wow, right? So the flip side of like not feeling protected is feeling betrayed and feeling feeling not trusting, right? So, and not feeling safe. So that seems to like, that's a root chakra thing. That seems like a big theme with all of us right now. So let's say some of these events have been happening. So we realize we still have this like non-trust feeling and fear being here, that we don't feel protected and supported. So most likely it's an old program. It's something that's happened like last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but it'll bring up like, oh, I'm still being abandoned. I'm still not being supported. We are, but we're being shown if something triggers within us, then when we're clearing that out. Okay. Clearing it out. So that's perfect. Okay. Final pile. If everyone chose number 3, this is a super interesting pile. My goodness. So this one, the Orion activation came in. So I've talked about this before. So to me, There's all good versions of all realities, but when this card comes in, it's talking about the galactic wars that we've shared about in the past. That we go, our soul. If we were here during the fall, if you feel like you resonate with Atlantis and Lemuria, you were here when the planet fell, when the stargates got corrupted and closed, got trapped down here. But then we went through a reincarnation recycle process down back to the Orion system. So that's been a theme with my clients, is that I've been clearing out traumas from the Orion system. So for some of you, that might be the case. The card is super positive, though. It just says you're a supernova. You're going through a renewal and being rebirthed by the light. Okay. Yeah, what else came in? There were a whole bunch of things. The dragon that came in is like, you're very connected to Lyra. You're a Lyran. So your role in this life is to help you to connect back to that Lyran aspect and to step into your power, which is what the dragons are doing too. And that's how I ended up with this background, was I got really moved into my Lyran aspect last year. Okay. So just know that this dragon is also here to help you realign with your Lyran aspect and help you step back into your power. All right. I pulled a couple of cards that's super interesting because of the Orion activation. I thought that's interesting. So that, and me too, like I went through a period of like, I realized I was one of the souls that had some things that went on in the Orion system to get here. So you're moving from the trauma into your Stargate heart. And there's the Emerald City in the background, which I love. And you're healing your heart, cool. You're healing the past. You've got a Merkaba there at the top. So you're moving into heart chakra opening, going back into trust and generosity and paying that magic forward. Okay. You're also very connected to, you have rare gifts. This is like the golden child. So you have rare special gifts. So you may have been going through some tough times, some dark nights of the soul, to help you remember that that's just Earth stories. That's not who you really are. You're a golden child. You came here for a reason. You're also very well connected to the Pleiadian system. Pleiadians are very, very healing. So you came in to be a creator, birth new creations, and be like this high frequency being to help new Earth. Okay.
That's cool. And that, I feel like that resonates with a lot of people. Like we all like that reading's for all of us, right? That's like, that's we all, and that's why we all like come together. Like we're all looking for answers, and usually so that could have a lot of meaning for a lot of us in our own personal lives, but all together as a group collectively, I feel. You know?
And I thought it would just be fun today to pick a pile in case anybody specifically wanted a message. But I agree. Like I feel like the messages always come in perfectly for all of us as a collective, no matter where you are, for sure.
Now you wanted to get into like famous starseeds in Motown. I tried looking up some stuff on like Motown. I don't know much about it, you know. It's interesting though, for sure. And the David Bowie thing's really interesting as well. Like, Marianne was telling me about David Bowie. Supposedly he had like 3 alter egos, and he made that song Starman, which I think is really interesting. I feel like he was definitely connected as a starseed, like, you know. And
I thought what we could do is, like, I looked up his starseed origins, and then we can share and talk, because you talked to Marianne, you've got some information too, and then I'll pull some cards and ask David if he's got any messages for us.
He also had an alter ego. His alter ego was the spider from Mars or something, or the Mars spider. How crazy is that?
Exactly. Exactly. So the first thing I found out about David, he was born January 8th, 1947 in London, UK. Same date of birth as Elvis Presley, just a different year. So that was the first thing that blew my mind. It's like he and David chose the same date to come in, right? Because I always look at astrology as we didn't just land, you know, blindly on this date and this time. It was part of the plan. We chose the family, the time, the date. So we had this astrology and where we were going to come and incarnate in. Okay. Most of our families, if we feel like a lone wolf in our families, we chose those families to heal the karma that we have with them from other lifetimes. So his main aspect is Lyra. He's Lyran. So that's super interesting. And I thought it's super, and I don't know, maybe somebody in the audience knows, did he and Elvis ever do anything together? Did they collaborate at all?
I don't think they did, but maybe somebody would know in the audience.
But I remember David Bowie did collaborate with Bing Crosby, and he did collaborate with, it's coming to me, Mick Jagger. There was somebody else that I think he collaborated with Frank Sinatra too. I could be wrong about that. So it's interesting. It's interesting how he started out. Like, he was born in 47. You know, we think about he hasn't been gone really that long. We feel like he was this young energy. I got to see him a number of times here in Vancouver. I was very blessed, and he actually did a documentary at one of his concerts, and I was at that one as well, because we all went to this one concert and then we were allowed to come back for the filming. So I actually got to see him quite a few times, which is amazing. And wasn't he a shapeshifter? Wasn't he didn't he change all the time?
Yeah, and Marianne said he collaborated with Freddie Mercury too.
Yes, he did. Yeah, so I feel like, I mean, I already knew he was a starseed because I think he was so ahead of his time. He was so transformational. Every album was different. He always looked different. And the Spider from Mars, isn't that interesting? I feel like that's a tell, like that's a drop that he was letting us know about the spiders.
And his song Starman, you know what I mean? I think that was kind of like it was like bringing it was like ushering in like knowledge about like, you know, or at least putting it in people's minds, you know what I mean?
I know I'm a star seed. I know I'm here on mission, so let's start planting that in my music and let the collective know, right? The other planetary aspects that he's super connected to, besides Lyra, and Taurus and Aldebaran. And I keep getting this message that Aldebaran, it's in the Taurus system, but the Aldebaran is very connected to that planet that Princess Leia was from. That was her home planet.
Wow. I can't remember what it was.
I'd have to go back and watch it. I can't remember what it's called either, but the name's very familiar. So when I see, I had to look up Aldebaran. Aldebaran is part of the Taurus system, which is very close to the Orion system. And one of his aspects from the Lyra system is he also had a lifetime on Vega as well. And the Vega planetary system is there too. So that's super interesting. And he did have an experience in an Orion that came in as well. So he too came into, like Elvis, he came in to transform, to change, to not only himself, but to use his tool as, an artist, as a musician, to help the collective. So I love that.
Did you know that there was this woman from the 80s? She was an 80s singer. My friend Sal told me about her. Her name was Tina Marie. She was like a pop singer, but she had a whole album called Star Child, which I think is interesting too. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
It was almost like people were trying to come out with this information, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting for sure, you know?
Oh, okay. So I'm just looking. Karen's saying that Aldebaran is a lot of SSP is connected to that. That's interesting. Okay.
James Caswell, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question for you, Rob, because I'm still learning about the whole SSP thing. So is this still ongoing? Are people still being taken?
I think so. Yeah. I feel like people are getting a lot of people are getting activated and they're getting their memories back, which is interesting. You know what I mean? So,
okay.
I mean,
is it a good thing? Is it a good thing that's going on, or is it a negative thing?
I mean, I think most people's experiences are negative, but it's like, I think it's a good thing that they're all coming out with their memories, because then it's more proof that something's actually going on. I mean, I don't think anybody can doubt that something's actually going on. You know what I mean? Like, there's something definitely going on between, the targeted individuals, the people who are having MyLab abductions, the secret space program experiencers, and, and the SSP, you know what I mean? So that's like 4 things that, like, people are really experiencing a lot, you know what I mean? Like, so it shows you that there's like a lot of military involvement and a lot going on, it seems like.
Okay. So
I think
so the Andromeda is just saying my base is in Aldebaran. So would the secret space program be like being managed by the Earth Alliance? Like the good people? Are they trying to give abilities back to people, or is it a process of like people are being abducted, like with the Greys, and being experimented on? I'm just trying to figure
I'm not sure about that, because I know there's like Solar Wardens supposedly, and that's like like our program supposedly, but then there's also Nachtwaffen, which is the German secret space program, and then there's also Michael Sawa came out. He said China had a secret space program, and I'm guessing like every major country has a secret space program, but like Karen, who's in the chat, Karen McDonald would know a lot about that. She's really good with that kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, maybe Karen, maybe you can type something up and let me know, because I'm trying to piece this all together, and maybe I can look at some questions around that next time as well. Because to me, I'm starting to piece together that in the battle, some of the planets were given to us, the Rebel Alliance, and other or that we've taken over, we've taken back, and other planetary aspects are being used by the Empire, the Dark Galactics. Okay, so to me, we have the sun, we have what else do we have? We have Venus, we have Jupiter. They have the moon, they have Saturn, and they still have aspects of they're still controlling the Orion system, as far as I know. So if anybody else wants to share in the comments what you all know, that's good. And yeah, I'd like to look up Tina Marie too. I think I'm just going to, as we're talking, I'm just going to see if David wants to bring any more information in for all of us. I'm just going to pull some.
That would be cool
for him. Yeah. And because I feel like a lot of the stars, a lot of the people that were awake, that were planting stuff in their music or in their films or whatever, like choosing their projects, came in and or were found out, like we're in meetings where they were informed about what the real story was going on. I don't believe anybody in the film industry or the music industry doesn't have a clue about what they're dealing with, but I feel like a lot of them were programmed. A lot of them were brainwashed to not remember for a long time. So, before I read this too, I think I saw somebody said, why are the elites building all the bunkers? Because the movie's still ongoing. So I agree. Like, I feel like there's all these different realities and all these different timelines. We're in a battle now. Like, we're not in where we've won. You know, those beings are still here. That is still ongoing, and they're going to fight till the end to keep Earth. Earth is like the gem. Earth is the heart chakra of our not only our galaxy and universe, but all the galaxies and universes. So it is like the ground zero where everybody wants to take over. I'd heard that they started creating bunkers like way back in 2020 during the first lockdown. So, and are they still real, or are they clones? Like we could have a whole show just looking at them. Okay, so from David.
Wait, I just want to say real quick, I'm trying to send a message out to Andromeda because he said he donated. So YouTube won't let me send a message to the chat. I just wanted to let him know that we saw your donation, and like we'll get to personal questions at the end. You know,
for sure. For sure, absolutely. Okay. So David just wanted to let everybody know that he knew that he came in to do karma clearing. He came in to do energetic clearing, to live his truth, and to rewrite his story. So he, as a soul, as a starseed, he also came in to be this, he chose what he wanted to kind of come in to do. He's absolutely with source. He's, there may have been a lot of different stories about him. I think I saw somebody mention that he had reptilian DNA. So I'll talk.
Yeah, someone wrote here. I'll put it up on the screen. Someone said Bowie alien reptile eyes in 1976 movie Man Who Fell to Earth.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
No kidding. Final message is he, at the end of his life, he was very much on the Earth Alliance side. So he was using using his music and everything. He chose. It said the Venetian. So he chose the light side towards the end of his life. He got out of the programming, out of light. And I look at his life, how much he changed, and I look at what he gave to humanity, and that he really did keep to himself. He didn't like doing all the schmoozing and all of that. He did his work, and then he kind of kept to himself. So let's talk about the reptilian thing. So this is really hard for a lot of us to fathom, but a lot of us came in to clear the reptilian energy in our DNA and our ancestral DNA. That's what this is about, the back of our head. This is the old reptilian brain. This is what they did to our avatar, our physical body. They made it more reptilian. So I feel like he did understand that, and he did transmute it. He probably at some point, my feeling is with a lot of the souls in the industry that go really, really big, that they make this agreement to be taken over. So if he did go through periods where he was shapeshifting, he probably did have an aspect of a reptilian within him. But I feel like he transmuted it and it moved out.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting for sure.
Yeah. So it's not like, so let's say something like Queen Lizzie. I feel like she wasn't taken over. I feel like she was a shapeshifter from the beginning. But I feel like others that kind of go into the industry and they want to be famous and they want to have all these things. And in the beginning, they just sign things and they just agree to things. But eventually there's a meeting where they're told the real thing and they can be taken over.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about Motown? Did you want to touch on Motown a little bit? You know a lot more about it than me.
Yeah, why don't I'll just briefly talk about Michael Jackson, and then I'll pull some cards on Motown for sure, okay? And then somebody in the audience might have it. So Michael Jackson was born August 29th, 1958. Now, this is super interesting. This is why I wanted to bring him up. His main aspect was from Draco. So he came in to deal with a lot of stuff. He totally knew about the reptilians and everything that was going on. He was also very connected to Spica. And what else? There was something else. He has some really interesting aspects, like not usual aspects. And he did know about the Orion system as well. He did have something from that. So I wanted to share that. He was born in Gary, Indiana, August 29th. So he was a Virgo. And I wanted to pull some cards. I'll just pull a couple from him, but I wanted to pull some cards around Motown because his family, they all went into Motown really early. And there was that period, like when the Jacksons went into Motown. Motown was huge. Like they rose out of the Detroit era where nothing, besides the car industry, nothing was going well in Detroit, right? A lot of dark energy in Detroit. So personally, I'm just asking Michael, he was programmed at a very early age, most likely MK Ultra. And then towards the end of his life, like we start to think about when he went into all those court battles and suddenly everybody was turning against him. That was him breaking out of his programming and trying to break away from the people that were controlling him, for sure.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. It does make sense because, they can make it look like anybody's doing anything. I mean, I don't want to say he wasn't for sure. I mean, but it seems like, if you don't completely buy into what they want you to buy into, they can manipulate your life any way they want to. They can make any of us look bad. They can make it, so it's like, it's a very difficult situation when you're dealing with something like that.
If you think about it, if you think about it, when the Jacksons became popular, he was like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So a lot of times parents go into these meetings and they just want the money. They just want the fame and the fortune. And
you're right. And his dad he treated them like they were soldiers. Like he had them like dance training from like a young age. Joe Jackson, he was like very abusive too, from what I remember, right?
So I feel like a lot of these parents go into these meetings and they get shown shiny things, and you have to sign away, not reading the fine print, signing away, all the life. So
God. And this makes so sense. I mean, I was going to say his dad could have signed away for them to be involved in programs, like you said, MK Ultra, they could have been involved in all kinds of mind control or manipulation, like stuff we don't even know about. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Again, this is something Karen would be good for. Karen McDonald knows all the different programs that people are involved in and stuff. Like
we may have to have a show with Karen.
Yeah.
And then she could bring stuff in, and then I could pull some cards around.
My shows I do with Karen, she knows this. I have to do them on Rumble because Karen brings the heat.
We could do it on Rumble. I was just thinking we'll have to do it on Rumble. That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Karen definitely brings the heat. She's she doesn't she's like,
So Michael, it's okay. So just to let you all know, so when someone's called Michael and not Mike, right away, I always feel like he's aligned with Archangel Michael. And early on, I would get messages through music. And I always felt when they brought me a Michael Jackson song, not the Jackson 5, but a Michael Jackson song, that it was connected to Archangel Michael. First thing I bring up is Sword of Light. So he absolutely knew that he was divinely protected. He was very spiritual, but he wasn't able to get around the karma. That's what he was working on. So he knew that he was dealing with the karma about what had happened, what he had been programmed to do, things that were beyond his control. Okay. So I just going to ask. Okay. So he's saying that I got this manifestation powerful vortex. He's saying that's what Motown was. So Motown was this huge portal of energy that a lot of the entertainers at that time, like the Supremes and the Temptations,
and the Four Tops, and
look at the music. The music was amazing that came out of Motown, right?
Yeah, what they said, that I was watching a documentary because I tried to like prepare to like have something to say about this and today, and I couldn't find anything occult. But one thing that they said that was really interesting about Motown is they said they tried to aim it so it could bring together like white and black. Like they wanted to target the music so it was like so everybody could listen to it and like it. You know, it wasn't directed towards one race. It was like a unifying music, if that makes any sense.
It was.
That's what they said in the documentary.
Yeah, it was. And I was just thinking Diana Ross and the Supremes, like it was massive. The stars that came out of Motown were massive. So so I just pulled some cards on Motown. Bottom of the deck is Four of Swords. So this is kind of like messages about Motown from Michael, really. So it gave him it was great, but it gave him all sorts of anxiety. And that's where his patterns of not being able to sleep came from, was from all that went on at Motown. It was a powerful, you know what else came in was the Emperor. It was a powerful empire at the time. Like it was the place to be. All the families, all the musicians, everybody wanted to be part of Motown. It was a huge empire. And then this Page of Cups came in, which is about young, like when he was young. They went for they enticed and brought in offers, brought in all the young ones. And the star card came in. I want to do a clarifier for that, because what I'm hearing is like they handed over their rights. But a lot of the beings that came out of Motown were star children. They were star seeds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So the clarifier I got was the Power. This is like my Lyran card. So it was a powerful force, an entity, when it was at its height. I think when the Motown music came in, and I'm just trying to think, Berry Gordy, he was the lead of Motown. So he was the emperor, and it was all about power as well. So it was a very powerful force to reckon with at that time. It competed against the Beatles and all sorts of.
And also there was they said in the documentary that there was a lot of blues going on in Chicago that was like more like I'm trying to think, I think that was maybe Aretha Franklin or what, I can't remember her name, but they were competing with like the blues musicians out of Chicago, whereas the Motown was like a Detroit thing that was kind of pointed towards the world, I think.
And there were lots of like family groups singing on the street at that time and singing in the clubs. So like the Temptations and all of that, the groups, that was a very popular thing. So interesting with Aretha Franklin. She might have to be someone we look at in the future, because I always assumed she was that Motown was her label, and it wasn't. She wasn't in Motown, which is interesting. So I agree. Like there were a couple of different ventures that came out of Motown, but Motown kind of, I want to pull some more cards. I feel like it was planned in a way. Like I feel like it was a planned endeavor.
Plus there was again, I think this was more 50s, but I was going to say there was all those Italian street corner singers that kind of emerged from like like the areas of New York City, like Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, you know what I mean, where they were like singing on the corners and stuff like that too. That was like real popular back then because people were more outside, you know what I mean? There was no like internet culture, it's like today it's all internet, like.
Well, back then it was radio. Back then it was like everyone. So if we think about everybody wanting to get their music on the radio, so Motown made this empire was created, and then everybody wanted to put, Motown music on their radio. So it's interesting. The Page of Cups came in again. So it was created to bring in a lot of young energy, entice a lot of young people to come and work for them. Initially it was very balanced, Two of Cups. So initially it was very much like, you do this for us and we'll give you this. And it was very balanced in the beginning. So it was a good environment for everyone. It was family. There was the Six of Cups as well. So it was a very much a family environment when it first started. So that's good to know. Yeah, it was positive in the beginning. Does anybody do we even know what happened to Motown? Is Motown still around?
No, I think it kind of collapsed in like the 80s with like the like explosion of like pop music and stuff like that, but it was like, I think it big in the maybe 60s, 70s, 80s, or maybe the 90s is when it like really, like kind of collapsed.
Because I'm feeling Lionel Richie and his group, the Commodores, I feel like they were almost like one of the last groups to be part of that label, and then maybe it was bought out. Maybe Barry Gordy got an offer to sell out or something.
He made a big movie too. He made a movie called The Last Dragon. It was like a martial arts, like music movie. I was always into martial arts, so I watched that. It was about a kid who like loves Bruce Lee, but he's African American and he lives in New York City. And that he meshes like music with martial arts, and like it's a good movie. It's like a cult classic or like a B movie, but it's still really good. And I think Barry Gordy like meant for the movie to be big at the time. It just wasn't as big of a hit, but now, if you ask anybody if you ever saw The Last Dragon, like so many people saw it, it's like definitely a cult classic. It's interesting for sure.
Was that Lionel Richie that was in it?
No, it was some his actor's name was Timok. His name that was his. He had like just a one name, and it was a Barry Gordy movie though for sure. You know.
Yeah. So that was probably maybe another thing. He expanded just from the music into the film industry, because I feel like it changed a lot too when a lot of the artists moved to California. So like Michael Jackson and his family moved to California, and they may have moved operations from Detroit to California. That might have changed. But isn't that interesting that the movie was called The Last Dragon, and we started off talking about dragons?
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out. But I wanted to just pull a couple cards about Motown towards the end, and then we can go into readings. Whoever has a reading for sure. Okay, so
we have two. Melinda McClung sent me a small donation on PayPal, so I don't want to forget about her, and then Andromeda.
Okay, sounds good. So it looks like, this is King of Wands. So it looks like Barry Gordy, like he got to where he wanted to be, and he was older, and he sold it. Like he wanted to just relax and retire. This is Nine of Pentacles. This is somebody who's just like, I'm laying back now and enjoying the money. The Moon card came in, and that's usually about hidden information. And then the final card is the Four of Cups, and this individual's not happy. So in the end, he didn't get the full offer that he was offered because something was hidden. Something was hidden in the contract. So yeah, it'd be interesting for me to go even watch a documentary on it. But yeah, it was amazing how it was like this rising star in the 60s, that a lot of that music competed with the Beatles, with all the music in the 60s. It was very, very well received globally around the world. Like the Supremes were huge before Diana Ross was huge, right? So, and then suddenly they were eaten up. A lot of other companies just bought out everything. I have a feeling like maybe Sony bought them, or I'm not too sure. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. It sounds about right though. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to look into it. So, okay. Did you want to do, whose reading did you want me to do first?
Well, let's do Andromeda, because he's been anxious in the chat. So, but he had a bunch of questions, so I don't know exactly what his question is. Andromeda, if you're no, I didn't mean Bruce Lee. Andromeda, it's a remake. The Last Dragon's like you got to look it up. It's a remake of it's an 80s movie. You just look it up. It's awesome. But anyway, what's your question, Andromeda? And put it in the chat so we know what exactly you want to know. And then Melinda, if you're in the chat too, can you put in your question, unless you want a general reading? And then yeah. But
okay. Well, Andromeda had a whole bunch of comments, so maybe I'll just shuffle, and he can just I'll tap into his energy.
Yeah,
he's the one who said that he has the connection to Aldebaran as well. Are there any messages for me? That is the question. Thank you, Andromeda. All right, let's see what messages want to come in. I got to pull a dragon for you as well today. Last Dragon, 1985 movie. So interesting. That could have been the downfall of Motown. That could have been. He might have put like every cent into that movie. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great movie. It's really, if nobody saw it, I would definitely recommend seeing that movie. It's a cult classic for a reason, and it's really well balanced. If you like martial arts and you like 80s pop music and that culture, like breakdancing and martial arts, and it's just amazing. It's an amazing movie. It's really good.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so Andromeda, you're going through a huge upgrade right now. Your main message is star being healing codes. So I don't know if you've been feeling that the solar flares, they're getting stronger and stronger. The last one on Friday, that wave just about knocked me out. So it just says you're receiving important downloads and information. It's really a great time for you to recharge right now and rest if you're tired, and it's helping you to heal wounds. Old wounds are healing. Okay. Now what's interesting is the Thoth card came up. and that's connected to like the fall of Atlantis. So some of your healing, your multidimensional healing that you're doing, that you're in the process of doing in this lifetime, is connected to the fall of Atlantis. And what's interesting is I found out for me that Thoth was, elevated to be this great teacher when many of us were there in the golden age, but he was also one of the betrayers. So he aligned with the dark matrix towards the end and betrayed a lot of people. But you have abilities, Andromeda, and like you also are like, about divine magic. You're very intuitive, and you have been a great teacher. But I feel like Thoth. Like I feel like you have a connection with Thoth. Interesting. You got like such a heart healing. You got higher heart activation in the Venetian Council. So your role this lifetime is to allow your heart to heal. If you're remembering all sorts of things, battles, wounds, everything, that you came to Earth to recharge and reboot and actually to heal your heart. And you also have very much a connection with the Venusian Council of Light. And they're all about they're star being guides. They're saying it's your time to shine and answer the call whenever you're ready, for sure. So I find that the Venusians, who was connected to, did we say? Oh, Tesla. Tesla was apparently from Venus. So wow. Yeah, interesting. Very high frequency, multidimensional beings. I'm sure Tesla didn't have an easy time here either. Your dragon is the aquamarine dragon from Neptune. So drink lots of water, be near the water. That's your great place to recharge. And the aquamarine dragon is here to help you enable and access your deepest soul wisdom. Just so
wow.
Cool.
That's cool. That's a really cool reading.
Yeah.
I hope you got something from that, Andromeda. And that was a really good. I think he's definitely connected to some kind of galactic thing or something. He's definitely like.
I think he knows everybody. I think he knows everybody. Who was the other beautiful soul that we were gonna? Oh, Shiva's got a
Melinda. Well, now we just got another one from Shiva, but it's Melinda. She gave me a PayPal. She says general reading is great. I can put her I can put her thing up on the screen. Her name is Melinda Crocker. But
hi, Melinda. Yeah, I'll do a reading for you, just asking your higher self and your team to bring in the best messages for you, and I'll pull a dragon message for you as well. Oh my goodness. Bunch of cards came in. Okay, I guess these are your cards. The bottom of the deck is angelic frequency. So you're an angelic. Just what came in 2 days ago. You are an angelic Jedi warrior. So we're going to range from remembering to be angelic and being peaceful to knowing that we also came here to be boots on the ground. Okay, so you're very connected to the angels. 3 cards came out together, which I don't even think has ever even happened to me on this show. So you also, your throat chakra is going through an activation right now, just like what came forward in the second pile. So you could be maybe feeling great. You might also go through periods of like scratchy throat or whatever. As our throat chakra is healing and elevating, more of our superpowers come online, because this is really, besides our heart, this is where our lock and key codes are to our upper chakras and our upper abilities. But I'm seeing, like what I shared earlier, for you to spend time by water, near water, and in nature would be super helpful for you right now. No, this is interesting. It's so weird. I saw one card. I thought it was a different card, but you're on a soul level. It says inner earth and base chakra. So you being out in nature and in earth is so important for you to be aligned and to feel grounded. But also with this card, I find it is connected to knowing about the underground tunnels and what is going on in inner earth. So a lot of starseeds, including myself, do not like to remember some of the yucky stuff that has gone on or is continuing to go on. So we have a hard time grounding because we don't really want to connect into the inner earth. So just know that when we go to nature, nature is high frequency. She's new earth. She's not the old earth. So we think about A and B. So she's connecting us to the new crystalline grids, the new earth. And that's why she's so replenishing right now. But on a soul level, about the tunnels, that's partly why you came in as well. A lot of us came in. We knew that we were going to have to really flip this reality at this time. But nature is super important for you to stay grounded. You got Lemurian seed codes. So you're very angelic and Lemurian. So you've had lifetimes in Lemuria, and Lemurian crystals would be super powerful for you right now because they're more like for receiving and for healing. as well. So you might want to get yourself a Lemurian crystal. I'm just going to pull a dragon for you. See what dragon wants to work with you. Oh, I love it. You got a divine goddess dragon, Kuan Yin's pink dragon. Now, what I love about Kuan Yin and her dragon, this is about resetting karma and resetting everything and just starting anew. So it just says, brings firm love that resets your karmic balance. See all cords dissolving into transcendent love. Enjoy your freedom. Look for the divine around you. Beautiful.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, this is amazing. We just have one more, and this is from Sheba, and then because we've been going about an hour and 14 minutes. I don't.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll do one more for sure. Hi, Sheba.
And yeah, here we go. She says, "Hi, hope you guys are well. Can my guides tell me who's responsible for my hand bruises? One on each hand. Different stages of healing appeared overnight." Wow.
Oh my goodness. Weird. Okay. Sheba, can you type in the comments when you notice them? Like the days, because then I can kind of like tie in what's been going on as well. You're welcome, Sheba. So I'm going to ask for some messages, and then I'm going to pull some cards around it. Okay. Okay. I'm hearing that you were out on mission. So are you part of like are you aware, Sheba, are you part of a secret space program or something where you're aware that you go out on missions as well? Oh, you're welcome, Melinda. Yeah. February 11th. Okay, let me just think back. Okay. Just trying to think of when the 11th was, what was going on. Yeah, I'm hearing like I'm clairaudient. You're in the Monarch program. Okay, so I'm hearing that you were out on mission, and that sometimes when we come back in, we come back in with physical things that have occurred during the mission, and or we re-enter really, really quickly. So I'm just going to pull some other cards. I've got your like a reading, but I want to just, yeah. So you got this card called the Divine Matrix. So this literally is a Stargate. So what they're showing me is when we go out on missions and we come back, we come through a series of Stargates as well. The Sirius Star Team of Light, you were part of a mission with them. And they're just letting me know like everything should be healing, that it's okay. It wasn't anything nasty, but you were out. Like I would find like say February has been a month where I've remembered I was being shown being out on mission and coming back. And I've had other clients that have come back with like scratches and bruises. So to me, that's like a really fast reentry back into this reality. And sometimes we don't have a soft landing. Okay. So you got the 9 of Wands, and there's like a little wounded warrior. So there was like some wounding as you were being out and as a warrior. The moon, there was something that was around the 11th to do with the moon. Was it a new moon or a full moon? It must have been a new moon because we're heading into a full moon. So, they're letting me, and this is the clarifying for this coming back through Stargate. You're out on mission, something to do with the moon. So that means that we've got we have missions that we're doing out of body to do with these other, because to me, the moon is it's a battle station. It's not a planet. So you could have very well have been out on a mission to do with that. There could have been a battle that night. Yeah, I got the Knight of Cups to clarify. So you were part of a team that were out working on some type of initiation and battle around that time. It's interesting. 7 of Cups says choose wisely. I've been getting that a lot lately. And then another 7. So 777 is a really good positive message. So let's just talk about choosing wisely. So we think that we don't have any control over what we're involved in. I would talk to my guides after something like that and say, hey, let's hold off on these intense missions where I come back with bruises on my hands. So we actually do have say in what we're involved in when we're sleeping as well. So if we still think that we have to be abducted or taken or go off and come back bruised, it's like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I need a break, or we can start setting our intentions about before we go to sleep. This is what I wish to do. as well. So I always set the intentions to go to the benevolent ships for meetings, for healings, and to receive downloads, so that I'm not like being willy-nilly just thrown all over the place. But I too had to go through like some scratches and some bruises. Okay. Anyway, pay attention to the 7 numbers. That's the universe and that's your higher self letting you know that you're on the right track at the right time. But hopefully, yeah, I would do that tonight. Just set intentions. No, I don't want to go on any more missions where I come back in and I've got bruises on my hands. But I want you to know you're safe, like you weren't like hijacked or anything. But there very well could have been like a chase where you came back into your body really, really quickly. Okay. Oh, I love it. You got Archangel Michael's Deep Blue Dragon, which is one of my favorite dragons. This is one of my what I offer as an activation, both in the dragon sessions and the group calls with Archangel Michael, because this dragon is so powerful. It clears the path around you and it keeps you safe. So trust that you're protected and you walk on a path of light. Yep.
Wow, that's great.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love it. So anyway,
this was a great show. We went an hour and 20 minutes. That's a little longer, but I mean, I liked it because we covered so much stuff, and I thought it really flowed well. I thought it was amazing. You know,
me too. I loved it. It was great. It was so much fun today. I hope everybody had a good time, and we answered a lot of questions.
Yeah. Do you want to tell everybody how they can find you and book a reading with you and all that stuff? And thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thank you so much. It was awesome too. You're welcome, Sheba. Thank you. So yeah, my website, alohapinkbella.weebly.com. You can email me, alohapinkbella@gmail.com. If anybody wants to come to the next group dragon call, that's going to be on Monday, the 26th. And yeah, all sorts of cool dragon activations going on right now if anybody's interested. And I would love to work with you. So yeah, look forward to connecting with you all.
Yeah, and just on mine, I just want to thank everybody and thank Pink Bella. And I was going to say, you guys, if you can support the podcast, we could use it right now. But I know it's tough for everybody right now. It's a rough winter, so I appreciate everybody watching, and but there's links in the description for that, and all Pink Bella's links are in the description. And thank you everybody for tuning in today. And until tomorrow, I have some good guests coming up. So in the next couple of days, they're going to be fun. So have a good night, guys. Take care, everybody. Thanks.